Inspiration is just a story away.
Welcome to Inspiring Lives with Dr. Shellie. I'm your host, Dr. Shellie Hipsky. All of my guests have conquered obstacles, risen above adversity, and then have gone on to help others. Today, my guest has looked terror in the eyes. Alicia Kozakiewicz was one of the first victims of cyber predator kidnapping. She's now a survivor who helps keep children safe around the world. She's here today to tell her story. Thank you for joining us, Alicia. So, a decade ago, you were abducted outside your home by a 38-year-old man. Can you describe that experience to us?
Well, you know, when I was 13, the world transitioned from the real world, from going outside and going to the movies and spending time with your friends out in the real world to sitting at home on the computer. And I spent a lot of time on the computer, talking to my friends from school as well as their friends from other schools, and their friends, until eventually you're in a realm of people that you don't really know, but you all feel very connected because it can be traced back to that one person. And through this process, I would be introduced to the man who would be my abductor. But first, he was my friend. And of course, when I say friend, I don't mean friend, but what he had done over a period of 8 months is he had groomed me. Grooming can be likened to brainwashing. And I know that sounds woo-woo and crazy, but it isn't. It's taking apart a child and putting them back together bit by bit and turning them into the person that you want them to be. And it's so simple. All it is being a child's friend, being there for them, telling them what they want to hear instead of what they need to hear, making them feel beautiful and special and unique when they don't feel that way every day. This person offers that. And after 8 months of this grooming process, I agreed to meet this person, and to this day I can't really tell you why, other than the grooming. Other than the grooming was so overpowering. And on New Year's Day 2002, the coldest, darkest, iciest night of the year, I walked out my front door between dinner and dessert to meet this person, just to say hi, who I thought was my friend. And I can remember the cold and how awful it was, how it was like kind of painful cold. And I just kept walking like a robot, like a zombie. And I walked up the street just a little, and next thing I know, that little voice inside of me spoke up. Alicia, what are you doing? My intuition started screaming at me, Alicia, go home, what are you doing? And only it was too late. I heard my name being called, and next thing I knew, I was in a car, and my hand was being squeezed so tightly that I thought it was broken. And there was a monster, and he was barking commands at me. Be good, be quiet, the trunk's cleaned out for you. Now there's a point, in my opinion, where you do whatever you can do to get away. But I was past that point. I was in a moving vehicle with a man who was about 300 pounds to my 86. He drove me to his home in Virginia, where he held me captive in his basement dungeon. And I was raped and beaten and tortured for 4 days. Once he had me, he had broadcasted videos and images of me being abused online to other users. And somebody saw this who he had actually been talking to prior and called the FBI. Now, statistically within 3 hours, in a stranger abduction, a child is murdered. I was on the 4th day. And this man, it took one monster coming forward about another. This man, he called the FBI, and all he could offer them was the man's screen name. He knew nothing else. And through his screen name, through the Patriot Act, they were able to locate his IP address, which led to me.
Wow. Well, thank God that you were rescued.
I'm very lucky. But up until the 4th day, I had done whatever I had to do to survive. No matter how painful or humiliating or disgusting, I did it. Because I knew that my only chance of survival was to stay alive long enough for somebody to come find me. On that 4th day, he looked at me and he said, I'm beginning to like you too much. Tonight we're going to go for a ride. And I knew that that was end game. That was when he was going to kill me. He was going to dispose of me in some manner. And that was also the day that I decided to do whatever I could do to get away. And I accepted that I probably wasn't going to make it, that I was going to die, but at least I was going to go down with a fight, trying to fight for my life. And miraculously, that was also the day that the FBI busted in the door and they saved me. An absolute miracle.
When we return, you'll meet Alicia's mom and get the perspective on her daughter's kidnapping that only a mother can give.
There are predators upon predators out there just awaiting your child's innocence, your child's questions.
You're watching Inspiring Lives with Dr. Shellie.
Who or whom inspires you?
I would say it's the whom, and that would be my mother. She was a single parent, so I watched her work 7 days a week as a child, all the time, to make sure I had everything I wanted, and always instilled in me that anything is possible if you work for it and you work hard. And that's what I grew up watching. So she is what keeps me going every day.
And here you're a young female entrepreneur yourself.
Yeah.
So how does that feel? How does your mother feel about that?
I will tell you, my mother never has driven a brand new car. She always had, used cars, because she's a single mom and that's what you do. And I'd say it was maybe my second year into my business, and I took her to the car lot and I let her buy any new car that she wanted.
That's awesome.
And it sounds silly, and I'm not saying that to kind of be boastful, but to watch her get in and drive a car that had 3 miles, she was beaming, and it was amazing to be able to do that for the woman that's done everything for me.
We'd like to know what's inspiring you at inspiringlivesinternational.com. I'm inspired by Alicia Kozakiewicz's story of being kidnapped and now giving back and helping others. As a parent of 2 kids myself, after we did our first interview together, I got nervous. I got a little paranoid as a mom, and I went and I called the alarm company right away. I got it installed all over my house, and just tried to be so protective. My daughter loves to use the computer, so I got very nervous. So now I really want to know what it's like to go through the kidnapping from a parenting and a mother perspective.
Words are difficult to describe it. It's completely surreal. My daughter, Alicia, she disappeared literally between dinner and dessert. Excused herself from the table and apparently went out the front door to meet the predator. And it's awful. We aren't prepared as parents. I don't know how anybody could ever be prepared for that, because it just happens. Evil, doesn't knock on your door. It doesn't give you warning. It's just your child's there in 1 second and your child's missing the next.
That's so scary to me as a mom.
Terrifying.
As anyone, but particularly when I think of my 2. So I'm glad that you're here to tell this story so that other parents can know what it's like and hopefully never have to experience that. But fortunately, you were rescued. What was it like to see your mom for the first time and your dad for the first time after being rescued?
I'd hoped I'd see them again, but I never really thought I would. Like I said, I had already accepted death. And after I was rescued, they put me into sort of a foster home, foster family for the night. And I was told that my parents would be there that night. And I waited up all night for them, and they didn't show up. And I sat there all night thinking that they didn't love me anymore, that this, I made a huge, unforgivable mistake, that this was all my fault. And I found out in the morning that the reason they couldn't come is because there was so much media attention that they were unable to get a commercial airline. But what the FBI had done was put them into a private plane, actually, and fly them up to me. And I can remember my dad, he ran up and he gave me a hug. And if you ever talk to him There's a quote in the papers that said this, everybody should have this hug would end all wars or something.
Oh,
It's like,
that's so great.
it was such an amazing moment for us to be reunited, something that is truly a miracle that we never thought would happen.
It really is. And I think sometimes you see that in life, there's these horrific experiences and then there's the beautiful experiences, and they can sort of be parallel, and almost in the same week it happened with you. What can parents do to help protect their kids? I said, you know, my Alyssa is, she loves the computer. She's 5 years old, but she loves it. She loves the iPad and she loves to use the computer. What can we do? How can we help?
As a parent, what I didn't know then, because it was a whole new science, I didn't realize that there is a certain etiquette, a certain training that your children need to have right from the beginning. Before their little fingers first touch those keys, they need to start learning about internet safety. They need to learn where to go, when they can go, and they need to learn that you're monitoring them, just as we would in any other facet of their lives. Because children historically have known more than we parents do. The way the industry has grown, children have had the ascendancy, they've had the control, and we've allowed them way too much license to do whatever they want. Their computers are in the room. We don't understand it, so we've given them the freedom. And in many cases, we really don't understand what's out there. We think it's urban legend, and it's not urban legend. There are predators upon predators out there just awaiting your child's innocence, your child's questions. So we have to be open with our kids. We have to communicate with them openly. We have to be aware of what's out there. And we need to monitor them. Not only in the monitoring that the children know, the products, there are products that hide under the registry that our children don't know are there, and the monitoring softwares. And as our children get older, we need to switch to those. It's not really an invasion of privacy. It's just a way to keep our children safe in a venue where we have no control.
I appreciate that, because I remember when I told Alyssa about you and that you were kidnapped, and her first question was like, why? Like, who, like, why? And she's young,
Right.
She's a baby, basically, and we had a really good conversation about it. And I feel like parents really need to sit down and have that conversation.
It's like the talk.
Yes.
And quite often it's because it does involve sexuality.
Yes.
And we have to be open with our children because they're so hypersexualized today from the media, from society, that they are doing things online that we wouldn't have thought of doing at that age.
Absolutely.
So we have to be honest. We have to realize our children are sexual beings, and we have to try to protect their innocence even more because of that, and communicate with them on an open level. We know this is out there. We know that you're interested in this. We understand that you have questions. Please come to me, and please know that we're not going to punish you. If you say you've encountered porn, or if somebody has come to you and said, meet me, or let's do this, or you know, let's share that,
Right.
to know that they can come to you and they're not going to be punished, that you're aware that it's the predator's problem. It's never the child that's guilty. It's always the adult.
And it's important to be your child's friend, but you need to be a parent first and foremost. A lot of times I'll tell parents that they need to put the software on the computer, and they always go to invasion of privacy. But the point is that you need to protect your children. There's so much evil in this world that they need to be protected from. You don't let them drink and drive. You don't let them smoke cigarettes. Why would you let them have the internet where they could have access to anything they could possibly get their hands on?
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. We do need to take a short break. In a moment, we're going to welcome Jennifer Hain to the studio for our gratitude giving segment. We'll learn about an exciting new product for children that's giving back to the people of the rainforest in Honduras. After that, we'll have more with Alicia and what she's doing to keep children safe on and off of the computer. Welcome back to Inspiring Lives with Dr. Shellie. I'm here now for the Gratitude Giving segment with Jennifer Hain. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here today.
So today we have a very exciting product, and we have been playing with these around our house constantly. They are amazing toys. Like, actually, my husband and my kids and my father, they all love it. And they say like from age 3 to 99 it's
Yes.
appropriate for it because they're magnetic and they clip together. My son adores this little race car. It's awesome.
They're very
So,
durable,
absolutely.
childproof.
So they're very fun toys, but as you know, the gratitude giving segments, we always feature something that gives back, a product that gives back. And how are they giving back with Tegu?
Well, Tegu, actually, the thing I love most about them, Shellie, is not only are they socially conscious, but they also stress the importance of education.
Awesome.
So because of selling these products and through donations by people like our viewers, we've been able to sponsor over 3,000 school days for children in Honduras.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes, it's an incredible thing. And not only that, but they've been able to plant over 34,000 trees in the rainforest of Honduras.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yes.
I think we should go to the clip and find out more about Tegu from Tegu.
Let's do.
Tegu is a toy company on a mission to improve the way your kids play and create social change in one of the poorest nations in the Western Hemisphere. My name's Will. 2 years ago, my brother Chris and I embarked on an adventure to create a different kind of toy company. On a business trip to Honduras, Chris was struck with a vision for creating something that would address poverty in a more sustainable way, by harnessing business. At the beginning, we set out to find what Honduras could offer the world. We quickly discovered an amazing supply of gorgeous hardwoods that could be used for all kinds of cool products. We learned that although the forests have been significantly abused, there were inspired efforts to make local wood harvesting more sustainable. Not long after this discovery, we stumbled upon some brilliant, classic wooden toys from Europe. We were impressed with the durability of the toys. They lasted generations. They weren't made of plastic, they were safe and all natural. These toys came to life through the imagination of the kids using them, not with batteries or on-off switches. But though these toys had a certain magical quality, they were the kind of toy you would find in Grandpa's attic. And frankly, they're a little boring. So we set out to bring these classic wooden toys into the 21st century. We wanted to bring them from here all the way to here. After spending over a year researching and developing, we reinvented the wooden block by adding our own twist. It was time to breathe new life into an old classic.
I like blocks because they stick together and they don't go. They'll go upside down and they won't fall. They'll just stick together.
By embedding powerful magnets inside classic building blocks, we've created a toy that unleashes the imagination, and we're proud to say that you won't find instruction manuals or on-off switches with our curiously attractive toys. Though they look simple, these Tegu blocks demand imagination and inspire serious creativity across all ages. With every set of Tegu blocks, you invest in an awesome toy for a kid or a kid at heart, and you also get the opportunity to make a real difference in Honduras. When you go to our website, you'll see that with each purchase, you get to choose how we help Honduras. 1. You can help us replant the rainforest. Each tree we harvest creates more than 500 sets of Tegu blocks, and you can choose to plant 12 trees for each set you buy. That means for each tree we use, we plant up to 6,000 saplings, and we think that's pretty good. 2. Hundreds of kids work in the city trash dump in Tegucigalpa, Honduras. We've decided that it's time to get them into class. So we've partnered with an incredible school that takes these kids off the dump and puts them into classrooms. We won't stop working until every single one is given a chance at an education. Today, you can choose to make a difference. Invest in the kids that you care about by getting them higher quality toys, like Tegu blocks. When you do this, you'll open up a world of developmental and creative play, and you'll hugely impact the future of a country in great need. Connect to Tegu, and together, we'll work to change a nation.
Dr. Shellie Hipsky's latest book, Ordinary People, Extraordinary Planet, is inspiring lives around the world. Find your copy at major bookstores and on Amazon.com.
Welcome back. Now we'd like to get into the truly inspiring part of the story. How Alicia rose above the pain of kidnapping and she now gives back and helps children. She's also co-authored a book called You're Not Alone, The Journey from Abduction to Empowerment. It's a survival guide for returning abductees. So Alicia, you have done so much to help keep children safe in the world. Because of this, you've won a lot of awards, from the Jefferson Award to being recognized by President George W. Bush. You've got a congressional citation, honorary deputy sheriff. I mean, the list really goes on and on. You've even helped pass some legislation as well. You really stood up for girls and children who are being hurt by sexual predators online, and you did that in front of the Judiciary Committee.
Beside me, there are so many young girls whose stories will never be heard because they are dead, possibly enslaved, or just too terrified to speak out. When I speak, what I say is for all of us who exist in pain and fear and sometimes even shame.
Tell me about Alicia's Law.
Alicia's Law is the stateside version to the Child Protection Act of 2008, which is what I testified before Congress for. The one I testified before Congress for is a federal law, while Alicia's Law is the state law. Right now, there are nearly 1 million people, predators, trafficking, in sadistic, graphic child pornography. We know where they are on a map. We can trace them to their homes through their IP addresses, the very same way that I was rescued. Now, statistically, 1 out of 3 of those homes has a child being hurt within it. Maybe not a kidnapped child, but somebody's daughter, somebody's granddaughter, somebody's niece. A child who's being hurt. 1 out of 3. That's 300,000 children we could save right now. Alicia's Law offers the funding, the training, the boots on the ground to be able to go out and save children like me, save other children who are being hurt.
I'm so glad that you're out there doing that and working towards Alicia's Law, and you had it passed in 2 states, correct?
Yes, it's passed in Virginia and Texas, and we are now working on it for Pennsylvania.
Excellent. What is your hope for the Alicia Project as far as internet safety for children?
The hope for the Alicia Project is to reach as many children as possible. The main thing I try to do is show them that this can happen to them. I bring up a photo of me from when I was 13. It was taken 2 weeks before I was abducted. I'm wearing the same clothes. I guess I really like that outfit. And it shows a very average 13-year-old girl. I tell the kids that this person could sit down and walk and sit down with you, and you wouldn't go, oh my gosh, she's so weird, something really bad's going to happen to her. She would just blend in. I was a normal kid, and if I can make that mistake, so can they. And I would really like to reach as many children as possible and hopefully take it internationally. Because this is a global problem. This isn't just a Pittsburgh problem or a Pennsylvania problem or a United States problem. This is a global issue.
And we actually met through Facebook, you and I did, and became really good friends. So you really haven't shied away from using the internet since this happened.
When I first started speaking out, kids would ask me if I had a MySpace, and it felt like I didn't, and it felt like it was something really dirty to have and just wrong. And as I've grown older, I've realized, wait a minute, I'm in college, it's okay to have a Facebook.
Right.
It took me a long time to feel safe and to not feel guilty for being online, for talking to people online, talking to even just my friends through Facebook. Meeting you, what were the chances of that? We actually met through somebody in Utah who messaged me about doing a media event, and then you messaged me about another media event. So it's important to know that the internet is certainly not all bad. I mean, I would really hate to go back to the card catalog.
Me too. And I remember when we started putting together the stuff for the National Child Abuse Prevention Month, and we started talking about those things. Can you speak to that a little bit?
We worked on a poster contest. We had children we had children draw posters of what makes them feel safe. And it was really beautiful. You know, some of the results were what you would think: family, their school, God, and I thought one of the really beautiful ones was an American flag.
Oh.
Government made them feel safe.
Yes.
But with Alicia's law, the government can stand up and actually save them. That's who can do this. That's who can save the children, to pass Alicia's law. Yeah. And they're drawing for them to do that. That's what they're hoping for. Children can't vote. Children can't really speak for themselves. It's up to us to vote for them, to contact the legislators, to tell them that this is important, that our children are important.
Absolutely. And I'm just so glad to have met you, Alicia, because you really are truly a voice for this younger generation that's going out there, and they're utilizing the computers, but we want to keep them safe. And we, you know, as a mom, I want to keep my kiddos in a bubble, you know, make sure that they're okay all the time. But you're giving kids the tools so that they know what the boundaries are, and that's fantastic. You're helping parents understand that, and I just appreciate it so much. So I'd really like to thank you today, Alicia. Thanks so much to my guest today, Alicia Kozakiewicz and her mother, for their amazing story of family triumphing over adversity and pain. I'm delighted to count Alicia as a true friend, and it's an honor to work with her on the National Child Abuse Prevention Month and the Alicia Project as we help keep children safe. Until next time, remember, inspiration is just a story away.
Life is filled with struggles. Life can be filled with pain. Sometimes you need a little help to get back on your feet again. The help you need sometimes comes from an unlikely source. A helping hand to understand and get you back on course. The love you give comes back to